Tapestry is a ministry at Irving Bible Church for adoptive and foster families that we have the privilege of leading. We began leading Tapestry in September of 2005. And when we started, we had 20 people come to our first event. But we really had a conviction and just a certain knowledge that the local church needed and could do so much more to inform, to educate, to connect adoptive and foster families and those who were considering those life-changing adventures. Since that time, we've seen Tapestry grow to minister to over 500 adults last year alone and some 200 plus children. Just a tremendous growth, and what I think that growth really speaks to more than anything is the need.
I'm single and I didn't have a husband. Where is the support? Who's really going to support me on this? Yes, I have my family, but they're in another state. So I was forced to realize I'd have to rely on myself, so I thought. Once I got into fostering, I realized the network of support.
I think one of the special moments in both of our adoption processes was the day that we brought both our sons home. It was pretty amazing to step off the flight from New York to Dallas and walk into the baggage claim area and see 60, 75 people with signs, pictures, just cheering for Luke, who was a little scared when he saw all these people. But it was a really special time for us.
One of the things that we quickly experienced in looking at adoption is how ignorant we were, how little we knew about adoption. There just weren't a whole lot of places for us to turn. We didn't really know families who had adopted. We didn't know kids who were adopted, and didn't really know, other than paying agencies money, kind of where do you go from there. And I think that is really one of the driving passions for us in terms of leading an adoption and foster care ministry in the local church, is to give people a place to turn where they can find not only information, but they can find connections with families who are walking that same journey.
We're involved in Tapestry because it's a great resource for families like ours and families that are going through the process, that have questions. Because having gone through the process where there were no resources, it's a challenge. And to have a resource like Tapestry, it's a great place for you to come and bounce ideas off of other families that may have already experienced them, or a great place to come and get resources and help educate yourself or your family on what the process is going to look like.
That's, I think, one of the reasons that we love to help other families now, and feel blessed to be able to do that, so that they don't have to be kind of on that island by themselves and not have people around them who can help them in that process.
When we plugged in and started to meet families and go to the meetings, not only did we feel like we were receiving tons of education, but we also were able to just go watch these families interact and ask them those hard to ask questions. And did you go through that? And then when we would get calls or get concerns or get upset during the wait and go through difficult times, we had families to call on, families to email and ask. Because your agency's there, but they certainly can't pick up the phone and talk to you every day like some of these families did for us, or invite us over to dinner on a tough day when we got news that wasn't so great, or rejoice with us when the news was great. So certainly, I think it was so important to us to connect with just friends, people who had done what we were trying to do, people who were doing what we were trying to do, and just that was huge for us.
In some ways, Tapestry is a ministry born in a local church, living and breathing within the local church, but in many ways, it's more of a community of connected people who have a common bond, and that bond is adoption and foster care. And what we hear over and over again is that agencies and other organizations in the community that advocate and facilitate and make adoption and foster care possible are essential, but they can't do some things at all because of limited constraints, or it's just not their focus. And what I think we can do as a local church ministry and as a community of people in the local church who have this common bond of adoption and foster care is create a safe place where people can really connect with each other on a deeper level, and they can really support each other and encourage each other in a way that really can't be recreated and experienced anywhere else.
I think it is so nice to be around other people who get you, and we could be completely normal. One of the Tapestry meetings, you had a speaker that talked about family plus, that we all have family stuff, and everybody's got stuff, every kid's got stuff, but with an adoption, you've got the plus side of it all. And most of the people running around Flower Mound, Texas don't get that, and they don't understand all that. And it's really nice to be in a room of people that get some of the same stuff that we've had to deal with.
One of the things I think we try to do through the ministry is to help our families understand there is no adoption and there is no joy and blessing in adoption without also recognizing the grief and loss. That's just part of adoption. And I think we have to not only embrace the joy and the blessing of adoption, but we want to be here to help them understand and work through the grief and loss so that they can embrace all of adoption and all that God is doing to put the broken pieces of their lives and so many lives back together in a redemptive way.
Going through those valleys that you go through the adoption process, it only made the end that much sweeter, I guess, for us. Seeing what we went through, it prepared us for some of the issues throughout the process. But when we brought our sons home, it just made it that much more joyful.
This whole process did stretch me. It made me get out of my comfort zone in ways that I can't fully articulate, because I had to actually reach out to people that I didn't know. And because I have a transracial family, I had to really get out of my comfort zone. I had to learn different ways of dealing with things that I'd never encountered before, actually.
My revelation, I would say, on why God made our family the way He did in the terms of the way we look, physically look. We were at Mi Casino one day at the Galleria, and this family sitting next to us was looking at us, just looking and looking and looking, which is not necessarily unusual for our family. I wasn't sure if it was because our kids were so close together, or they all don't look alike, or we had a set of twins who were wearing doc bands, the helmets, because their heads weren't shaped right. I wasn't exactly sure why they were staring at us, but they had a baby in a little infant carrier, and as we left, the lady stopped me and she said, "We just adopted our baby 6 months ago." And I said, "Oh, that's so great." And we got to talk to them about the community of families at Tapestry, and we got in the car and I looked at Michael and I go, "I think I got it. I think I know why our family looks the way it does. It's because God put our family together in a way that people visually see that we are an adoptive family so that we can be that blessing to other people."
I had a discussion with Emily, our oldest biological, who was displaced by her birth order when we adopted Svieta. Last week, her and I went on a trip together, and I said, a lot of people might have said that adopting out of birth order was wrong for a family, or would be wrong for a family because of what it might do to someone in your position. And I said, so even looking back for the last year and a half as how hard it might have been, if you could do it all over again, would you support us in adopting Svieta? And she said, got real quiet, and she said, "Daddy, I can't even answer that. She's my sister. Of course, I would tell you to adopt her again."
Adoption for us is us. I mean, that is who we are. That is our family. We can't imagine having grown our family any other way. And if we could do it again, we would have done this a long time ago.
Adoption is a great example of God's economy. How things that are foolish to the world are wisdom in His eyes, and how He, as He says in Romans, how He calls things that are not as though they were, and how He is completely able to take a situation of despair and hopelessness and knit it together into a beautiful picture of a family. How what He's doing in our physical family is a model of what He's doing in our spiritual family and in our hearts. And the things that my biological children have had to consider and learn about God as our Father, as our Heavenly Father, knitting us together and working in our lives, I'm not sure if they could have learned it at this age in any other way. They've had a visual before them that I hope one day they realize has just been a privilege to be a part of and a privilege to walk through.